not a problem, but would you try sitting there? We can get an extension cord over
Okay,
there.
yeah, my laptop is like dead.
That's the only place that came with the and like,
Over there? Okay, there's only like.
do we have extras? Extension cord?
I know.
Okay, that's the only extension cord we have. Let's see. Here, we're gonna unplug stuff for a second. And we're gonna put the opposite way around. Did we get the stream going? Yeah, the stream. There should be. Let me erase that. We are all live on the I'll let you know that started. Yeah, that's the camera's kind of goofy set up, but okay. How long is your cord? That will also work. Sorry, I put you set up. We don't plug in this laptop. Yeah, like that. Screen here, and it's about to die.
Good morning.
Morning. Are you okay if we stream the debate?
Just about my decision.
Yep, sure. I'll turn it off. Oh, sorry, I took the chair with you.
Real question is on your elements.
There's one in the corner back there.
Sick.
Yeah. It's like behind that wall.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you.
You good, Jacob?
Yep, I'm gonna stay in here so I can.
Oh.
The 1AC was sent out a while ago. Just let me know if everyone has it. Leland, you all good?
Yeah, we start on
Ari?
What's up?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome.
Plan of the United States Federal Government substantially increasing security cooperation with the Northern and treating isolation over cybersecurity, standards, administration, telecommunications, managed ones, military 5G deployment is downloadable, landing compromised by lack of cybersecurity, and interoperability. That's all for 21 UD trailing behind on 5G, maritime 5G, military solution, change communications, one unit operation, benefit, interoperability, 5G, ISR, alter, military, intel, master speed, more connectivity, reliability, ID for critical application data, 2 power IoT connectivity, multimedia for military, still flight network management, interoperability over 5G for DoD, United standards, bringing them together, 5G security concerns, side events will be important, cybersecurity intelligence capabilities into 5G, making small cycles allow commanders understanding of adversary decisions like the low latency access warning systems, assuming necessary security and crediting, reference close interoperability, as well as 5G full potential in the multi-domain, enables complete integration. That's Bronza 21. 5G is globally enable integration of EDTs into multi-integrated shifting systems, integrated collection sharing of data only possible. 5G networks advanced resilience, scripted enable allies, and approach to 5G risk vulnerability gaps, military potential allies being national efforts to broader 5G, military enhancing interoperability, JADC2, US connect all centers and military systems on a single network after the China pioneer. Systems develop 5G defense remain competitive. NATO through multinational coordinating money facilitate standardization across the alliance interoperability, building more factor for 5G military devices and alliance-wide standardization, increase warning transmission, making potential interconnectedness, international standards across coordination will be essential, and specifically security cooperation with NATO, solid security leadership in 5G. That's in 20. NATO's 5G security cooperation security measures ensure deployment NATO nations bring together is paramount. States prepared to adopt 5G cybersecurity. NATO must develop a strategy rigorous policies preventing countries by NATO standardization office allows investigation favor assessment mitigation and management automated navigation of 5G network share data operating between benchmarks that further emerge requires fast sharing info information sharing authorized participants ensure real-time ensure trust and security all users information sharing manage cyber risk includes just more than de facto standards best practice military litigation NATO 5G innovation security by design sharing threat intel regaining leadership NATO nations these collaboration could affect adoption success of new tech for 5G and scenario 1 is operations. First is allied air power that can also 20 cyber 5G tech increases attack services, device more vulnerable, DDoS botnet, disrupt the entire network, plethora of security challenges, 5G networks must adopt security requirements, NATO allied forces gain advantages of 5G, more data, faster preventive actions, 5G tech enhanced productivity, transforming sophisticated weapon systems, increase air combat, essential, smart decision making, high reliability is critical, 5G virtualized software, complex cybersecurity there to ensure confidentiality, integrity, availability, NATO countries level quality, security paradigm, mitigate risk, establish secure 5G in the future, and second is allied naval power that's compelled in 21. 5G system threat interoperable, assuring a full repackaged XC2 at sea solution provide backup against downtime naval forces extend multinational operations between systems is key for effective comms between nations, SATCOM, very impact real-time dissemination, data, use houses not suitable, ship, communication on 5G tech provide benefits, multinational interoperability, becomes relevant security future, military use of infrastructure, and boat check, and deter Russia-China alliance, otherwise multi-front aggression, external hostiles, security that's spelled 22. Simultaneous aggression, Europe and Indo-Pacific, NATO adopting new realities, sharing naval forces, European Air Force not having any capacity for shooting capabilities, European country forces, junior partners, community fine quality, air supremacy, air power, US naval forces maintain a firm grip and collectively sovereign invasion, questionable air superiority, reproduced air power, questionable maritime dominance, European victims of nuclear coalition, members of highly vulnerable Russian hybrid names, undermined through Chinese hybrid support, Russian-Chinese military alliance, NATO's Achilles heel, bursts well based on rapid military decision-making, multinational formations, rapid reinforcements, Russia step back immediately, emerging alliance, still early stage, Ukraine less time to adapt, NATO states need to accelerate, required of Europe power, naval power fund, the gap in NATO's deterrence use remains winning, eligible over their own share of field gas military capabilities, keeping success rapidly available, high combat effectiveness, enables joint multi-unit air superiority, particularly for success of NATO power, maintain firm grip on sea lines, and NATO's defense becomes hollow, change the risk calculus, and Russia, and scenario 2 is nuclear comms. Independently, 5G cybersecurity standards unlock stable nuclear communications vulnerable to electric risk now this fall day. Putting here clear solution on interoperability and nuclear command and control, bridging information data becomes trapped, and will be used on different clouds, different architectural platforms, difficult data centers, large centralized usage target for attackers, more wireless over data islands, multiple networks, as a bunch of defense department needs to solve actually less than 5G virtual functions, defined gateways, edge, computing 5G standards for ADC2, no brainer, bomb not build battlefield, these targets secure hard hardware network, electromagnetic pulse hard networks ensure security of hardware software, and prolonging vulnerabilities makes extinction inevitable, maintaining quick and stable comms is key to solve. That's clear. 19. Attack on US NC3 sufficient to justify nuclear response, nuclear combat, and efficacy of hostile range to include NC3's hybrid tech sufficient grounds, nuclear attack risk, level of direct creeping obsolescence of NC3, every aspect highly vulnerable, collecting and relying on cyber data, rapidly communicated to decision makers, pathways, escalation, cameras, comms, fog of warfare, fall of attacks, launch weapons immediately, NATO attempts to go really limited attacks, slow very slow leaders, not trust information, warning systems, and missing enemy attack leading to nuclear random strike, jeopardize creative, nuclear deterrent, undermine stability, misinterpret signals, launch weapons rather than lose. And scenario 3 is hypersonics. China's leading in the hypersonic race now, US still intensively as Kajik. 22, China's hypersonic inventions, the West Braid Air Force Channel, so hypersonic threat of the future, hypersonic auto 5 times speed of sound. China, everyone Russia has them in service, uses no way to shoot them, non-Washington, Russia, yet Japan, Pentagon marching ahead despite the setbacks, ladder still in testing phase, leaves China well ahead, China's nuclear cable, hypersonic missile circle the globe, no idea how, use visual emitted, and asymmetric development breaks mad, only parity for its nuclear war, that's Ferguson. 19, nuclear deterrence is not their nuclear war, but rather nuclear exchange, no matter tech gap, US versus China relationship is prized upon mad, avoid nuclear war, hypersonic serve, stabilizing tech and memory, stop increased parity relationships between three great powers, majority overriding kind of forcing the only positive impact on mass state relationship to be stable, it is stable, powers believed to be great control over parity would not be possible, so angry readings may show and various many disparity shift, parity supremacy, and destabilize great powers from welcome tech, and centralizing the infrastructure solves parity, that's MF and 21, 5 critical reason hypersonic weapons, middle centralized infrastructure data from sensors, targeting surveillance signals, fire hypersonic missiles on the fly, retargeting accessibility, mission critical intel possible for 5G, massive amounts of data transmitted in a very short amount of time, only option is 5G systems, and the second advantage is Germany. U.S. championing NATO 5G standards key to German Biosecurity standards is key, they won't push Huawei out, otherwise as Hamas, and 21, German's government will always embedded domestic telecom networks growing continues to waffle. Companies incorporating Huawei committed to check what's at odds with European countries' goal of reducing China's dominance. NATO members like the U.S. should be championing efforts to ensure uninterrupted interoperability through block-wide standards, minimum security requirements, coordination is necessary. Opportunities for intelligence sharing. NATO only realizes potential coordination across all countries. And Huawei slowly erodes U.S. German intelligence sharing, proposing broader cooperation on anti-terror efforts as well on Germano 19. Drop Huawei routines is AC intelligence terror impaired back alarm, German security amid persistent terror threat, Grenell war Chinese women and 5G videos while maintaining cooperation with German agencies, less security cooperation agencies rely heavily on US intelligence and fight against terrorism, secure communication against essential for defense cooperation within NATO, Huawei compromise, confidentiality, Americans and everything, and with the Chinese, unsettled Germany security community, be conservative intelligence, terrorists also foiled because the US helpline bomb containing deadly warfare agent battle points for Germany, potential for backdoors, and ends communication writ large, magnifying the internal link, that's R5, 19, everyone pick Chinese for 5G NATO, while communicating concerned about being compromised with 5G ability, data is commutable, is incredible, if it's not as inside communications, we're not going to communicate, and independently, bioterror causes extinction, that's Walsh, and 20. A deliberate outbreak by an interior pathogen was for chaos, faster, quicker than anything, and conveyed countermeasures, be reduced again, even wipes out the planet, an existential threat, an attack won't even be difficult, advances of high-tech, rapidly reskill, and money needs to gene edit, gene engineer, weapons of the future of humanity, like nothing else, external threat most available would be a bioweapon, and attacks are likely existential and circumvent countermeasures, externally perception of attacks accelerates gene drives, as well 22. Terrorists release numerous viruses across multiple hubs, pandemics, may contain passive and rapidly produce countermeasures, trigger collapse of food power, water power networks, and societies. He detect threats and defend humanity by preventing best public systems in the world, even lockdowns to stop virus and how to prevent emissions, but not spread, solve a problem here, depending on the actual community, kept weapons from terrorists, newly identified pandemic agents, based on advanced self-spreading construct as gene-drive systems, development of unanticipated agents, and gene-drive cascade, resulting in extinction that's on. 21. Driven to extinction technology, humans who drive synthetic genes led to a fatal combination of unintended consequences. Use of gene tech, rapid and uncontrolled manipulation, accumulating the environmental extinction level of biochemicals, brings unprecedented exposures across the triggered epigenetic responses, change immune systems, permitting cells to target immune systems, sperm, human goes extinct within a lifetime, disputes, wars, break out, race, stop, power, things, a series of genes, outright cessation of neurologic function, population died within months, and Germany co-op is key to maintaining the small bar, the Sputnik 19 global efforts, project crop diversity, Germany boosts cooperation development, small bar, seawall, safeguarding international gene banks, Germany support efforts to continue cooperation with the UER to preserve the planet, German government continuous support with systematic international information management systems, and that solves extinction. Lead 12.1, 12-hour survival for civilization, climate change, meteor impact, pandemic, no shortage of scenarios, world might end, reconstruct the planet, resilient against catastrophe, enter small bar, stay safe regardless of sea level rise, thermal mass actually keep freezing point, climate change promises, droughts, floods, heats, continuing the world, we have to thrive in different conditions, we have to preserve everything. Some humble seas fell every 8 billion people, a survival bunker for all civilization.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
Sure. The Germany scenario,
Yeah.
the evidence, the Bojun evidence seems to indicate that bioweapons have been uncovered in Germany. Who in Germany is developing them?
That evidence is actually not describing bioweapons being uncovered in Germany. It's talking about U.S.-German cooperation uncovering a bioterrorist threat. It's referencing a ricin attack, which U.S.-German intelligence was key in stopping.
Okay, sure. What about U.S.-German intelligence specifically is key to stopping anti-terror efforts?
Well, the first is empirically the relationship has been proven to be successful, but second, Drew, do you want to add anything?
Yes, they have a one-of-a-kind anti-terror effort. They share a lot of details with Germany as their greatest European partner in these anti-terror efforts. There's no other country in Europe that does this sort of
you just
sharing.
seem to assert that Germany is somehow the U.S.'s biggest partner in info sharing towards stop bioterror.
That's what the Bohan, we're not starting it, Bohan and Germano.
Okay, specifically what is unique about Germany or the U.S. with Germany that prevents
Their anti-terror cooperation.
What about the anti-terror?
That is a one-of-a-kind relationship. No, the U.S. does not share the substantial amount of information with any other European partner besides Germany. You will not have a card for this. We're just right on this question.
Okay, sure. I want to ask about the plan specifically. What are the cyber standards you implement for 5G?
Well, I don't think it's a question of implementation of standards. It's a question of centralizing those standards across the alliance. Our evidence indicates that the United States, specifically the Department of Defense, has the standards in their military. We think it's a question of the rest of NATO adopting it in their military.
Okay, what are the standards then that are adopted alliance?
There's a couple of them. One of them is the JADC2. There's assuming all military sensors being on a single network. We think 5G is that network.
Okay, so you place all military standards throughout NATO onto one network.
The sensors.
Okay,
Sensors.
which one is the evidence says that prevents all attacks?
The second card in the one I see.
The warrant in here is entirely just centralization, stops all attacks.
The warrant is centralization makes interoperability, which makes the system more secure.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. I want to ask specifically about the NC3 scenario.
Yeah.
Where does it say that specifically? It says our systems are vulnerable to NC3 attacks. Where does it say who will be conducting these attacks?
Well, it actually does. It says that the clear evidence says that China, Russia, and other non-state actors will be conducting attacks. We also think that the Esperanza evidence makes a uniqueness claim that says, quote, NC3 systems will be juicy targets for hackers after 5G, like the unsecured version of 5G is integrated into them.
Okay, what's the time frame for how long it takes unsecured 5G to be?
It's happening in the status quo. I'm pretty sure there was a bill in Congress that is not passed yet, but will integrate 5G.
Okay. What is he said? There was 7 off, advantage 1, advantage 2.
You want this?
Oh, sure.
Actually,
Dude, you might have been wanting to come in for some reason. Do you want to just open the door and see them?
I got it.
They were at the door. They wasn't sure why.
You said 7?
yeah, sorry. Sorry, wait. Sorry, I think it's 6. Yeah, 6 months, sorry.
I got it.
Wait. Was there people that wanted to come in?
Sounds like there was someone at the door, but oh no. I guess they're not there anymore. So.
Should I just start? Okay, if everyone is good, yeah, I'll start.
First off, T-stop, the determination of substantial security cooperation means all activities in the area, UN 82, and the means all activities in the area. Violation, 5G is only subset of cyber, prefer allowing the AFF to cooperate over minuscule parts of each 3 top areas, exponentially multiplies the number of topical aspect quality, never impossible, the AFF is distinctly status quo. Next off, second, okay, the construction of 5G cyber reproduction of Western frontier mentality, one centered around the xenophobic reaction of control and domination of new landings practices are dictated only by unknowability of cyber realm and our inability to cope with the unknown. That's Calcy. 13, the cyberspace capabilities with also to control the virtue, let the stellar innovation of the cyber communities, the original hierarchies, hope to solidify good housing, poverty, the charter, the knowledge, material machinery with the consumption of unruly models, space, need more cybersecurity, the combination of skills and practices that diversity needs to be that the expansion of civil clones opportunities based on ontological hearing applies infinite features, progression of desire, the shift and signifier backwards, deathly savages to be eliminated. The result is in the slides that showed 16 property goes to the most situation by making temporarily these goods and producing information, the zombie establish the very meaning of common lines, demarcated and differentiated from the desire, the attainment, possession, consumption, and driven within the set of society, which was managing future, revealing, removal, extermination, war, mass reservation, disease, and distributors of life, where the old name of God exists in the establishment, the production of enemies, deadly, that's just element. We affirm decolonization only places resistance occurring on multiple scales can actively work to reconstruct geographical space
solve Eastern European security, or does it falsely create new threats?
What do you mean? Oh, are you talking about like the different positions on the
Yeah.
Soviet side? Sure. So there are two positions we can go for. First, we can go to the position that NATO is held to perceptually back up Eastern European alliances. The Arnold 22 card talks about even the perception of their credibility is what sustains Eastern European
Well, I
alliances.
understand you've got two positions, but like, how do they coexist?
Right, so the Arnold 22 evidence, right, makes the claim that the reason Eastern European alliances think that there is cohesion is because NATO has these sort of credibility standard, i.e. being able to provide operations, troops, and forces in Ukraine, is what provides them from other countries nuclearly proliferating because they think there's that sort of stability.
Okay.
The other argument about like NATO being
I have a question about what
Sure.
you just said.
Yeah.
Troops, operations, would you claim that those are not security cooperation? Because those seem just like instances of NATO security cooperating in Ukraine.
What do you mean?
Because your
What do you
card on case talks about how NATO security cooperation is falsely building threats, but what you've just
Yeah.
described is the essence of security cooperation.
What do you mean? Like, the argument about falsely creating threats is stating that the justification for security cooperation is built on the idea that there are threats that NATO needs to cover, the sort of credibility in their alliances that they must also cover. The examples I gave you about troops, operations, and forces, each justification for those things, i.e. expanding intelligence networks or surveillance, is done on the justification that if NATO does not do that, they cannot provide credibility or they cannot sustain the threats they are seeking to cover or they're seeking to expand
Sure.
over.
Let's talk about the critique.
Yeah.
Decolonization as a strategy, do you fiat it, or do you assume that the judge voting negative
So
spills it?
we feel the scope of movements expanding. The Davis 17 gives the example of a 2014 Inter-Island Solidarity of Peace. It looks like different groups in those movements expanding, that more people are joining the party and they're doing different things, i.e.
Wait.
the Davis 17 card talks about how they have different interpretations of how international relations works and they have different
Okay.
geographic scales of how they would operate.
I'd like to say the first part of the answer to the question. You fiat the expansion of the scope of the movement. How is that not fiating a mindset shift?
What do you mean? It's just like more people join the party.
Yeah, but like you fiat that, so like you are fiating that more people have the idea to join the party. It kind of sounds like a mindset shift.
I mean, sure, you can go for the mindset shift.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about the uncooperative federalism counterplan. How long would it take to like condition the United States to say yes?
It would probably be a very short time because we will read cards that states have a lot of control over the Fed. Like they have control over programs, they have control over funding, they have control over political power, i.e. for environmental policy or other health-related programs that the federal government cannot sustain without state power.
Sure. Final question. Do you have any evidence that indicates that the United States federal government wants to do 5G security co-op with the states?
What do you mean? Like, it's the states pressuring the Fed to do that, right? So if the federal government does not do it, states will literally rescind all programs, forcing the Fed to take on power.
Sure. We'll start 10 minutes ago. Stop at 8:17.
I have 8:16, is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
100%. The order is going to be advantage 1, advantage 2, T subs, the uncooperative federalism counterplan, the special forces secret counterplan, the cohesion dissad, the biolab counterplan, and the cycle.
Just got about laying down.
I'm just waiting for the document, frankly, it's kind of slow.
Okay.
I'm good.
Alright. I'll let you already. Good?
No.
Okay.
Alright, I'm good.
Okay.
Slow down on my reviews.
Okay. Vote out for NATO's innovation of 5G cybersecurity. 1C, 1 and 0 5G race is not responsive to any of the affirmative, and we haven't made a claim about China winning the 5G race, but the app independently stops them from winning it, even if they're wrong. Their evidence doesn't presume that our current evidence with Silva 22, their evidence is 3 years old, doesn't presume current tension. 1C2 is no RC, Russia-China alliance. It's old, it's older than ours from Felt 22, which assumes Ukraine and says that drives them together. So obviously Ukraine is not responsive and still have an impact here. They haven't contested our internally, so it's not responsive to our scenario about naval air power. 1C3 is no, and C3 hacking does assume modernization of the Speranza warrants. Speranza says that 5G will be integrated, and Flutter is not about that. It assumes our aircraft, which is wrong because 5G connects them to the internet. 1C4 is hypersonics failed. This is uniqueness for us because it's disproven by our McKittrick efforts from 2022. It says that China already has hypersonics. There's from 2021, so obviously it's not cutting it, but we need hypersonics to deter China from launching hypersonic. Our argument says that hypersonic, it needs a hypersonic to shoot down a hypersonic, so obviously this is unique for us. 1C2, or I mean, second page. The first argument is NATO security creates that this is wrong. This is on the K page, we're on right there. 1C2 is no Germany developing bioweapons. This is wrong. We have evidence that says it's already happened there. This is analytics, you should not give it to them. 3 is no gene drive will kick it and concede it's inevitable or impossible. 1C5 is no bioterrorist. Yes, this is wrong. This is to the ESL evidence, which says COVID has a unique link for how it's happening. There's more people working in the biosphere. There's more evidence about how to make bioweapons online now. As well assumes it's a circumstance countermeasures we have to prove a risk, because it conceded that it's an independent extinction impact in of itself. 6 is no food wars. It's not responsive to our seed bank scenario, which is not about food, rather it's about repopulation of civilization after a catastrophic event occurs. So this evidence is not responsive. 7 is countries most likely have the best resiliences and not responsive to any of our scenarios writ large, but it's not about nuclear, etc. I'll answer that internally here. Leland is wrong about the Germany relationship. That's OPS 11. Counterterrorism, Germany has used to recover the relationship with counterterrorism, countering transnational crime signal, PCS, all information sharing, fingerprinting, and terrorist Germany, important role advancing counter operations between the United States and the EU. T-cells. First, we need plaintext affects all cybersecurity activities. Cybersecurity is 5G, and B, plaintext and vacuum, and substantially includes subsets and can be either quantitative or qualitative. That's on verse 15. Including a single component sufficiently important, all agree, ambiguous, however, large portion of substantial, either qualitative, quantitatively, and in between then, not throughout. That's 152. Imitative, then obviously the word is not me throughout. We are not any authority over such meaning, and overloading. There's only 3 options. If not, they link to their own offense. Pick teams, just pick out a subset, and every lose every time. Turns availability, functional limits, other worst checks on the applicants don't exist. Terminal skill, presence, explosion, no impact. Limits outweigh their interpreters are and their interpreters not predictable, non-resolution, plurality. The UN AG regards as activities, which is plural, but the resolution does not say cybersecurities. It says cybersecurity, which is singular and proper federal. Can't solve Germany 5G standards through holding the government hostage. It is confusing and concerning, not perceived that federal government championing standards, but being forced to do so, killing allied buy-in. That Germany says no, which tanks the entire second advantage. Both permanent counterplan, permanent the absence effect of the counterplan states. Counterplans are bad. They haven't really coordinate questions on topics, especially their counterplan, that they have to uniform revolt against the government, which is basically the most extreme version of Vietnam. Overthrow the government, courts will strike it down, and there's a broadly preemptive anything close to foreign affairs. That's Lenin and slow to see. Courts have wonder whether they distinguish foreign affairs domestic subject of any state judicial validation, and the Fed won't respond in their civility. That's Lori et al. 8.
Even as states move together, we would attract attention will not concern national governments. States are quickly, periodically, it's unclear the change would agenda respond to countermeasure proper, and state leadership fails. There's no internal benefit. There's a cacophony of voices. It's too uncertain. Doesn't last in the long term. That's better. 14. Dynamism, shortcoming dialogue, limits, authority, efficient, proper, fails, and divides. Dialogue, dynamism, part of literature, dynamism is also source to actively participate without continuing dialogue with other state legislatures will actively engage in the source of states and federal dynamic models. Zero ability or accountability. The secret accountability. First, they can't solve across supply. The Germany listed above sexual operations can't solve air or naval internal links because it doesn't signal deterrence if countries don't perceive it as a signal. It's secret, so they also cannot access any of those internal links. They also cannot access hypersonics because Ferguson's about the United States having hypersonics and showing the world that they had know how to use them, so they cannot signal that those happen, so they cannot solve any of our offense. Perm do both perm to the counterplan, perm to the acid effect of the counterplan, perm to the counterplan is just normal means because there's current tension. It's NATO 22. Security classification limits an individual discord to NATO's mission not be released outside the organization and includes the IP. Security exists at times of tensions. NATO confidential, NATO secret goes up. And independently, secrecy means the plan fails. That's Adler 96. Secrecy on the right system is actually cannot be a resolution of government inhabitant. Error prone system, blood self-correction, openness are made better. Decision brain secret thus enables good judgment and the cohesion dissent. It's not unique. Ukraine membership causes anything that's eager. 4-6. Divisions of NATO over Ukraine membership, NATO guided political reassurance given, the NATO members in the US and Germany pressure against European allies, and say yes, plan solved ally disagreement, Act 21. The US and NATO persuade Hungary and Turkey, the principal use an alternative, make it easier for country partner Finland, Sweden, and finance 5G products to work with allies developed, never open mandates, military systems, sure all never infrastructure avoidable, cyber tech should work with allies. Wow. It can solve any multi-locating operations, hypersonics, multi-bilateral agreements can frustrate individual interoperable interlinks of both scenarios. B, Germany, they say no, only if championing efforts, which was above, and per to both, it looks like fall on per to the counterplan. NATO is all its members, NATO 22, per to the aspect, NATO 22, NATO 30 countries, per to the aspect of the counterplan. If they fall on for us, we get the perm, and 5G bilateral agreements do develop, it's a scroll appeal 19. US government says EU countries also they deal with problems while we have countries, Poland signed bilateral agreements with Washington. Cycle. Framework, the balance referendum on the desirability of what's generally political states support fairness and address variation process every model debate the center foreign policy not so unique and reunited public for the apples decide we went under their interpretation justifies our reps and research process being corrected by our highways and reps system per well if the all prints showed over to the per to the non-mutually exclusive parts of the all wheels on other literatures discount conflict behavior increases the international America. That's 2021. New technology calling the question of ability for the United States every chronic existing order any advantages will likely force research in existing trade. Chief conflict China, Russia, British greatest danger, nuclear stability, China, employing technology, chief pre-existing China, Russia, employ new technologies, American business analysis, behavior, and nuclear dynamics, and the United States to maintain innovation, edge, priority, contribute to necessary balances, efforts, and some report the theory because their security and more stable security challenged by China and Russia and NATO sustainable and self-launches that they can show too. NATO and Germany challenges NATO with Russia to broader challenges climate change, technology, geopolitics, and migration, terrorism, put on to stress the government, say NATO source and control catalytic solution for NATO's arrangement of free market resilient and extinction outweighs its over 20. Extinction will analysis for every reducing pre-act state would be the cost of nuclear option fail the world to go back the survey sexual and presented to labor card individual that belief on the available information credence will incur the best evidence millions are on the line responding to the world be the world's top priority and rejecting the state advises a structure of pessimist that stifles indigenous agency actions on slide 20. The states are treated to possession of the lands of those looking organization have ruined the record of shifting positions, special traveling and indigenous engagement, reuniting relations and oversight of the grand state agency, community actors, rights of the narrow states of the region of those people, political actions condemning all indigenous people to stay the outfit of the many work with the debate decades when the collection groundbreaking, keeping the negotiating agreement of states and the states are not willing to change the land such a political will diminishing stage engagement diminishes on the indigenous movements could be positioning towards resources working together and the alt fails the case test and turns all interests were right about nuclear wings conflicts in the world of the all turns our impacts because cyber coexistence is more likely times of warfare double blind. If the all doesn't include the app, then they can't still access their communication networks and China terminates the uprising if it does. Picks are bad, steals the app and killing fairness justifies permanently the all because the plan is a good idea and transition wars likely nuclearity solves 16 to F-18. There are 16 cases of rising power 12 changing the hegemon right catastrophic war 40 held competition back in the hegemon rapidly range proxy wars and push to the brink of Armageddon and World War III extinction possibilities since the U.S. has not faced such a related will have been peaceful to have disappeared so the economy and controversial democracy, commerce peacekeeping overwhelmed. The U.S. might not be decided within the liberal order and overturn of the war is unthinkable. Conditionality is a voting issue because of 2AC strategy 2 and argument of irresponsibility counterterms this both they get to kick it for perms in theory. I'll just read. And trade religion or explain imperial infiltration rather than land that's screw 19. Senator Cohen said. Oh no. We'll scratch that card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reason for rejecting.
Found it.
States.
Yeah,
Honestly,
states.
anything else?
No.
Okay, cool.
Picks if you do it.
Oh, thanks. Okay, let's go on, I guess, first hypersonics.
The card about, like the Ferguson 19 card,
Mhm.
or just the Massachusetts 22 card, both of these pieces of evidence, where does it state that Russia has any sort of motive or incentive to use hypersonics?
Russia? No, we're talking about China. China has
Yeah,
hypersonics.
sorry, China.
Oh, China has hypersonics. It says that the Ferguson evidence talks about asymmetries, and when there's asymmetries in defense, that's when they're emboldened to use them. Ferguson does like a case study.
What do you mean by emboldened? Like, what is
So like
the word
our
emboldened?
MF evidence says that it takes a hypersonic to shoot down a hypersonic. When China thinks they can overpower the United States, because there's no link, you don't have China's
Okay,
not
but if
revisionist.
they already have hypersonics
Yeah.
and they're already ahead of the United States,
Yeah.
why have they
So
used it?
yeah, so we know about like this is like an intuitive argument. We would say that it's a question of time frame. Like the U.S. is in development now, so they have like
Okay.
somewhat operational,
So-
but they will use.
So to be clear, China has its hypersonics, they can use it, they know they're ahead of the US, it's going to happen eventually,
Yeah.
but this card does
It
not.
will happen eventually.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go to, I guess, the realism card on the K.
Wait, let's go to the cohesion decide. The cards you read about Ukraine membership causes division and like the arms sales. Why? What's the warrant?
Because allies disagree of giving Ukraine membership.
Okay, sure. Okay, sure. The say yes warrant, the say yes card.
Yeah.
Where in the SAS evidence does it say that specifically the plan would solve ally disagreement over other issues, i.e. Ukraine?
It says that.
No, it says so like it says it would bring the like allies together over this issue of 5G. There's no reason why we have to solve all those other ally disagreements.
Okay,
the link
so-
is to the plan,
so
right?
the
And we said
plan
that it's good.
solves-
Plan solves the link, which is good.
The link, okay, the link was not to like.
Not to
ally
the plan?
disagreement.
What?
The link in the 1 and 2. Okay, sure, that's fine.
If the link is not
Okay,
finished,
so allied say yes does not solve cohesion and agreement over sending things to Ukraine.
that
Given that
would
NATO
mean we just
already
said-
disagrees on it now.
If the plan makes NATO more cohesive, it sounds like we don't link to the cohesion you said.
yeah.
Okay, so this is not a link tree?
Well,
I mean,
sounds like we return the cohesion you said.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Okay, special forces counter plan. I guess the 1AC, what card in the 1AC or warrant substantiates the signal is important to NATO allies? Or I guess what is the signal?
well, the signal is stronger air and naval forces on the borders where it's weak in the
Okay,
status quo.
so as
China,
long-
so the Speldy evidence says that NATO needs to publicly boost its naval and air power because China perceives it as being weak. It says like China perceives it as being weak, so they will overpower. If we have a strong show of force, then they will
I
not
guess where
use
does
it.
it say that like public is like
Ferguson.
specifically necessary? Like if NATO allies
Yeah.
have strong naval and air
So
forces,
are you
it's
talking
not
about
substantiated to
Just the
deter-
first two internal links or the Ferguson evidence as well?
The first one.
We have 10. Sorry.
That's good.
going to be the cohesion disad, the K, advantage 1.
Fusion. I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, it should be sent. Do you have this? Yes. Oh wait, it's right here. Okay.
We're good.
I'm not. Downloading.
Okay. If anyone's not good, interrupt me, otherwise I'll start.
I'm not.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Is there an overview on any page? Does it require a new sheet?
No.
Great.
Okay. If anyone's not likely, or if anyone's not ready, interrupt me, otherwise I'll start.
We're good now.
Cohesion just like Lucy NATO's trying to over Ukraine assisted the war is that they're scared of backlash. You need to overwhelm something because the plan cannot unite NATO to overcome intrinsic range disagreements. They'll insert this evidence that proves that the war is about escalation. If they say yes, argument is not in link term. The link in the one is about the expensive funding trading off with Ukraine feared civil assistance. Not alliance members say yes. Also does not say that alliance members say yes will overcome other issues just so they can get them to agree over 5G, not over Ukraine, which is an insulated issue. Okay. 261 most framework counter-interpretation. The active object to reach the burden of majority to disprove the justification of intrinsic advantages of solve the role to try to organize ethical storms. They can only affirm it against certain epistemology, so prioritizing anti-military strategies that better. One is exoneration, demanding reciprocal fairness and action orientation that debates minorities and other demands that is friendly or to sell political imagination that displaces native presence, gives a free passing colonial language with the overall consequence of the plan is good and justifies the tendency of white supremacy to mass microaggression and justifies them in debate. Two is it linked to settler psyche into the aspect of policy, the policy that actually shape and save on settler psyche, Henderson 15. Settlers in individual terms of daily life, predicted ongoing genocide, these are the alternatives to the settlers, the second revelation of minds, reoccurring settlers, the possible subject of creating numbers, vulnerability, settlers, always rated, secondly, defensive position, settlers, that is suppression of desires, and the colonization, particularly the analysis, the conditions of generation, always in the slope, never to lots of rights, after rights, settler, colonists, overrated, subverted, creating past, in wholeness, cultivation, decrossing, and security, colonists, overrated, continues demanding, constituting, what's our subject of colonialism, general highly visible, like also occurs of radio, and expressive speech, after competitive fashion, everyday life, the settlers use their meaning to direct the easy repetitions, to direct the easy reproduction of the settler subject. First, with the fairness impact, one is that it's not unfair, you have to figure all their justifications to actually solve. Two, that it's not true to debate is more than a game competition, is that the only determining factor. Three, that moving the one he sees inevitable. Picks, T, and just has all do the same. Four, that we maintain fairness with peace times in order, or determining a winner and loser. Their explanation of their offense is not unique to reading a plan found the rules to keeping the integrity of the activity. The clash impact. One is that we solve the K, is core of the topic. Two is that plan focuses in fact. Filter debate through a 5-second statement without validity. The reason why it's good destroys no discussion, which turns your off just like basic rhetoric because Fiat ignores it. But going for clash loss and fairness, nullity and no debate is a game to error because they concede that debate has impacts that overwhelm the competent competitive ones. You hold them accountable for it. From next to AC2 is permitting to do both. One is that only certain that was above, or I'll do them later. Two is that it leads to creative energy to set liberal vested in institutions, great generated energy to best more liberatory strategies. Black 11. It is necessary to practice decision making within all hierarchical organizations, central authority, internal well challenging, externally, non-participating, to be submitted to institutions required to create energy drain from indigenous peoples because they pursue a combination of performance or trying to give recommend the radical potential and respect to the subject in these systems. The purpose of the non-neutral respect to the alternative is severance and is a voter. It's severance because it severance an action of the act that links or intrudes by adding actions that are not part of the plan with the alternative. It's a voter for white fluidity, allows you to shift happens to appeal and avoid comparative complicity, secularism, and also revolutionary text because it is a base table with the text with vast movement building. It's also not rejected because it did not specify what they exclude of the alternative of the plan. So to vagueness, measure for vagueness. The next 262 was the realism stuff. This is not our argument. Just because realism is true does not mean that these of the app is still rejected. I'll do the cyber link here. Pembroke's construction of cyber defense is not benign, but the agenda of the military industrial complex that evolved through large material knowledge and infinite expansions. Everything that can be imagined of destructing a space over the virtual frontier of manifestation becomes actualized to be ruled as everywhere and nowhere. It's further selling society that they have not occupied every domain in society. It's certainly reflected and once the evidence based on the one to control and master every single domain ensures the full sovereignty and friendly alternative world experience. It's the county evidence, specifically the one that frames 5G the new innovative domain for NATO leadership across cyberspace to demonstrate the frontier logic of 5G as the new cyberspace arena that NATO needs to expand in. It turns out to know brother everyone is enough cyber upgrades that NATO will never be able to proceed when they conduct sufficient error or enable deterrence for Russia or China, which they will always try to justify new expansions and the threat will never be fully eliminated. You should treat our link as unique. Cybersecurity threat construction is crucial to maintaining profitability, military industrial complex, and shoring up its legitimacy. Group 13. As military military warfare and reduce
cybersecurity much of work that I'm with is cybersecurity market is classified news information about cybersecurity. I want to go to the national cybersecurity stuff. I news, but the current sector culture, private sector profit is now linked with your monitoring committee over something about 50% of budgets, private sector content, and MIC is meeting so long your commitments at all about transferring church and pass of the club. Now, Leland Locks teaches technical material quality and a global real estate. 16. Radical war helps security things are cyber the colonies everyday level war records of things called digital arms and the overall cities to rebel in cyber traffic become favorites to just surveillance of large appetite security while we compel survive with military the military police and civilian governments to increasingly burden their mission to reinforce cyber military and the military cyber security incidents bring the internet things damage ever criminal cyber security interest on the recent president social media to air thing or BLM. Next is the NATO good section. It does not or also NATO is good on the material design and the presentation of the representations are good. We do not need to win a material impact or NATO good to win the debate. Next is the 2AC. Next was extinction outways. I'll do if you're one is that only to a sovereign seller just to direct you to credit to independent of the disabled creature that was meant to exist in world order to maintain the elimination of immunity. There's a basic position to have a shot is explicit that happened to be war the total threat to me is really of defense state or ground walls which turns everyone to see impact to you. It's a problem now. It's not unique for NATO seeing it as a future singular special is activizing returns. Yeah, I'll remit. Those are about consistent opportunities to people to the basic civilization and certain collateral driven for their own rights to those for others autonomous occurs in symbolic and suffering other places have to do with personal salvation and personal position for the virtual reality and reality changes for pain and the other civilized people something include all the averages to be killed and continue to repair. 3 I split the scale consequentialism only capture current generations of under centuries of genocide and inevitable. Legal 7 London, but during included under the right of the field of responsibility, one not killing record with the same value visibility, the lives of those in the United States, also the nitrogen value, those who do not have the power to tell the story of classified exporting rate through lines of the recent classification. Next is the life of evidence. I'll do the apology explanation here. First, we refer to Shaw evidence from taxes that the center for the settler left to live. The native must die. The security of the settler stayed assured that the next particularly reproduced justify settler existence. Shaw also said the settler tried to naturalize conflict to do the need to manage and map confusions. Also, the underlying logic of security laws is that the most effective war is release of defense state or ground laws. It's also a K of neutral military teachers to outweighs because it means the teachers only battle to avoid ensure that it ensures status quo civilization. The life of evidence flows out. She talks about how the UN co-opted native rights movements and how the states co-opted native co-opted people. To prove the work of Shaw, who also said the reform is only permitted and captured by the settler, which is why the life of evidence is wrong. I'll read the behind here. 2:11-20. The cities unified desire to cooperate with people to inclusion of great order to be included in the stealth of the UN Pacific. The norms of membership of international institutions will result in a personal decision delegate to demonstrate more allegiance to the UN system, their own communities cooperate to implementation of international highly effective challenge needed and global right food. But there's only a risk that we're right. They do not try to motivate for exploitation for settler complex. The life of evidence only reduces only a risk that our explanation supersedes the life of one. 2AC next with the alternative. I'll do the explanation here. You vote NATO to decolonization. We affirm an increase in the size and scope of distant movement to fight capital destruction, settler land grabs, global pure legacy that to promote peaceful relationships in East Asia. We align ourselves with Nazi actors like the inter-island Algeria from 2014, the Nazi actors in Jeju, Okinawa, Taiwan, Guam, and Hawaii to construct peaceful relationships with solidarity. That's the Davis evidence. There's 2 framing issues to evaluate it. One is scalability. Voting negative affirmation of the alternative on the scale of Davis that defeats is key. Rejecting the act forces and confront and form cracks in the way that colonialism operates on a psychoanalytical register. 2 is affordability. Voting acts not to the plan like voting negative not enact the alternative. Voting much of truth not much the importance of regions that impact on a framework. It solves the act. 1 is security, which answers the case this adds up. 1 is security dilemma. Davis said that actors undermine the feelings of security and communities that host it. That solves the realistic goal for deterrence of a potential solution by determining the military basis. 2 is spillover. Davis said movements for digital sovereignty occur and continue to places like Russia and China would solve the adversarial intent of other countries because moving to spill to affect government structures will prevent military posturing and other states. The back evidence is entirely about how unipolar state and unipolar hegemony solves the teaching that is not the advantage of the affirmative state and no hedge advantage about how cementing U.S. dominance is good. I'll go to the advantage. Extend 1 to 2. There's no RCA. Countries of both leaders of both countries fight each other due to different national priorities. Refugee population, Chinese land guards, and borders prove opposition. They backtrack on commitments to sabotage partnerships. Appear so net. Progress is the last time Russia kind of aligned almost resulted in nuclear war. I'll give it a 1 to T3. There's no impact to NT3. U.S. and Russia lack the intended threats are overstated. Let's see further evidence. The patches that air got solved. They create inbuilt rebels in it. Bulgaria and around 19. The initial penetration network can reach the intended and unpredictable result 90% over finding increasing target evation. They're not readily applicable for hardened targets to aircraft networks with CI military systems. Market at systems. And our nuclear codes are on physical plastic cards. Means hacking literally does not have an impact. Happens 22. Country might be having nuclear secrets, but the coding codes are less words to discover they would be as nearly useful augmented attack now because coaching to complete the codes and the codes are printed on a sort of credit card slip of plastic. Market at plastic. I'll go into 1 and C4. There's no impact to hypersonic. Things are exaggerating. Maneuvering is equal physics when we speed and the original is exactly right evidence. It is specific to China's hypersonic acquisition, but changes the scenario because it is about Chinese acquisition and use capabilities. To enter the wars because it means that China will not have a motivation to launch hypersonics or use them given that their turrets are given that existing things already stop the posture for doing it. The 2AC stuff about recency does not matter. That's not the scenario that China has. And even if they do have them or deep it applies to hypersonic use, which is limited. I'm good.
We're going to take prep for process.
Okay.
It's 16.
the shot in evidence. It explains specifically how settlers have the anxiety that their future in the society and civilization
Why does that
is
mean it's
threatened.
ontological?
Or I'm not. This is the evidence or the claim that the shot made. The shot
Yeah, and
evidence
I'm wondering what the warrant is for why that's an ontology claim.
The warrant is that, like, literally the history of conquest proves, like, it proves it's ontological because settlers have a desire to conquer and destroy the native in order to naturalize its settlement. Examples,
Okay.
like the evidence says, things like Bush's preemptive warfare, the logic of internally self-defense, stand your ground laws all demonstrate how settlers try to naturalize themselves.
The Lightfoot
within
rehighlighting,
single-
this is you rehighlighted a straw, like a straw person argument. This is citing like Corntassel's observation, and Lightfoot is negating that. I'm confused why you think this is a like offense for you.
Well, first of all, like, yes, it is, like,
It says,
inspection
yeah, okay, it's
from
just like-
someone else who disagrees with the author,
Yeah.
but it still disproves the original
Okay.
claim, because even though, like, the claim of Lightfoot is that indigenous people can work in the state, but the evidence literally states,
No,
like,
he's citing someone and saying then continuing and saying it's wrong. You just rehighlighted the straw person. Is that like correct?
okay,
Is it-
two answers. First, it doesn't mean the straw person argument is wrong. This was present in the original evidence as a rehighlighting. It is sufficient in that because it
All right.
proves that
The
the indigenous delegations were
extinction
included
outweighs,
in international.
extinction outweighs debate. What gives you the right to say that extinction is not unique for natives?
The Alder-Ryan evidence specifically indicates that the impacts of things like nuclear war and nuclear colonialism are already being experienced by indigenous people now. Things like demonstrated nuclear testing, diseases through like radioactive waste, and it's
How do we
definitely.
determine how to weigh impacts under your framework?
The Magnolia evidence is pretty clear on how impact weighing should occur. Specifically indicates that you should overcorrect for the consequences
No,
of
like
colonialism.
what is the calculus or like how would you determine what impacts we should understand and prevent?
I'm not sure what your question is. The Magnolia evidence, I think, is pretty clear that we should be over-prioritizing the impacts of colonialism over the value of like other lives, because it specifically indicates that the centuries of genocide have been occluded,
Okay.
like
So just
passed
colonialism
over by
before
settlerism, which
colonialism
is why the
before-
dispensability of past lives is preserved.
Let's go to the Scott evidence. Where does it make it in extinction claim?
The Shaw evidence is the warrant of the evidence, or like the claim of the evidence, is predicated off of the securing of settler civilization,
No.
i.e.
Where's the extinction claim?
Okay, Shaw does not say the word extinction,
Okay.
but the entire premise of the evidence is based on the securing of the settler society and civilization, which is the premise of what the AFF is trying to protect.
Okay,
It
the
prevents
Greenwald evidence.
extinction.
The
The one
Greenwald.
is trying to protect settler civilization and society from
Okay,
Islam.
the Greenwald evidence is citing Lockheed Martin. If the AFF does not use any of those or has no authors from any of those companies, why should we?
Okay, first of all, just because you don't cite Lockheed Martin doesn't mean the Greenwald evidence is wrong, because it's broadly about how cyberspace is legitimizing.
Before you go,
Oh yeah.
78. Okay, 76. Oh, we stopped, right?
Oh, what else?
Yeah, I literally took 2 seconds.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. It was sent, I'm just gonna send another piece of audio. Okay. So I'll send the order. I'm gonna answer condo at the top. Then uncooperative federalism, bilat, advantage 2, and the special forces component. Let me know if anyone needs that order again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so condo at the top, uncooperative federalism, bilat, advantage 2, the special forces component.
So, K, uncooperative federalism, advantage 2.
Oh, wait, before advantage 2, bilat.
Bylaw, then advantage 2, then special forces.
Yeah.
I just need a second to. That sucks. Is there a doc, by the way?
Oh, yeah, it was sent. In
I know. Oh, is it just this one card?
Oh, wait, there's another doc right above that.
There's not above that. Okay, that makes sense.
Are also these cards?
sorry.
Commando was good. We get what he did. First offense, 1 NEG flags. Commando was a necessary corrective on a topic skewed in favor of the applicant rigorous testing competence for ground loss. 2 in processing and forces. 2 is the decision making and strategic interactions were key to advocacy skills. Next, defense. 1 reciprocity. The applicant can get advantage through impact and checks, abuse and answer the standard. 2 perm to the check. It took 2 seconds to make it, 30 seconds to answer. 3 skew inevitable. 1 card. Just as of infant, just as of T procedurals and speed. The dispo links to their offense. 2 and C counterpunch pink out of strength charge is arbitrary with no community consensus links to their standards while crossing. 2 AC skew. Uncooperative federalism concede the perm test of competition. Violet concede the perm test of competition. Go to advantage 2. It's game over because of the handle of this hand of the ref from China. The one that sees paranoid of China is about driven by standard ornamentalism for the dissolving of the USSR to strategic cause of every imperial points to the fact that the West NATO's only purpose is to offensively advance the West against new threats of China is a new iteration under a global defensive protectionism. NATO is an offensive military organization designed dedicated to manufacture threats and display so-called revisionist powers designed to ensure its permanent existence. The impact is racial targeting, rhetoric matters, hawkish foreign policy, and alienating Chinese youth and excludes them from political institutions. That's lead to American resistance and disappointment among US and Chinese regarding foreign policy and news. They show that they wage a weaker national identity, we ran an American, sent by the Chinese to be actually always
versus limited ability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop prep with 4:36 Truman. Truman setting up the cards in the body. I'll give him. Ready, Sam?
Yep.
1-2 counterpoint K.
It's just in the bottom.
Yep. Yeah, just 2.
Hang on. One, two, special forces, critique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 second. Alright, good.
Cool.
We deter Russia and China through air power and naval power that was Canals and Capella advantage. Is this next scenario was NC3 5G security makes it harder to lag and stop nuclear escalation. That was funny declared. The third scenario was hypersonics we create symmetry shores with the match argument presents these of hypersonics. Their only argument on this page is that there's no motivation to launch. Exactly, that's why they haven't done it yet. But when the RCA gets big and scary, it'd be nice to be able to shoot down hypersonics when they inevitably do launch them. The second advantage. Current 5G standards make communication on 5G impossible, but the applications that have been moving with Huawei and endorsing their off-the-release standards for keep install Bioterror in the Svalbard, and Bioterror in the Svalbard. That was Walsh and Posey. 2C1 was the threat construction stuff. 1 is not threat construction because the RCA is coming now. Our evidence indicates that it's early stage, but it will get really big. 2, it's not technical or relentless, especially in the context of 5G when we have evidence that indicates that Huawei is a security threat. They leak information that would be very bad for the United States' anti-terror efforts proven by the Bohan and Germano evidence. 3, we don't antagonize China. We are creating a defensive mechanism. If China perceives that as antagonists, and obviously they're just an offensive threat in the first place. 2 and C2 is no impact to bioterror. Obviously, the Walsh evidence is way better here. Indicates that there's new motive and capability for bioterrorists to deploy and fire a bio weapon. 2 and C3 is food wars defense. We didn't read a food wars impact. The special forces counterplan. 1, drop hypersonic deficit outweighs any internal net benefit they can go for. Our evidence indicates that having hypersonics from the United States is key to solve any sort of parity relationship between the United States, Russia, and China. That relationship is probably gone mad. And obviously, the only way that relationship can exist is if Russia and China know the United States have hypersonics. But regardless, we're winning a permutation to the counterplan argument here that the plan can just happen covertly. If they're right that all this stuff needs to happen secretly, then obviously the United States federal government and security office would just decide that the plan would need to happen secretly and not disclose it to everyone. Either we're right that the plan is necessary to be public and the hypersonic deficit outweighs, or it needs to be private and the permutation to the counterplan solves. Like the 1, extend our framework interpretation of the balance of referendum on the diary will plan to not get that is critical to a predictable stasis point. A is fairness. Yes. 2 and C1. Yes. Unfairness. Absent impacts we lose every debate because many of our assumptions are true. Is negative reason. 2 vote half. That outweighs fairness. The only reason we have the debate in the first place. 2 and C2. Fairness is an internal link to establishing literally every other impact. Saying fairness is an internal link to other values is like saying nuclear war is an internal link to death impacts. 2 and C3. Fairness loss is not inevitable. Picks and T can be beat by good plans. 2 and C4. Obviously, rules maintain some fairness, but weighing the absence of an internal link to a massive fairness impact. B is clash. 2 and C1 and 2. Yes. Plan focus good. Policy center. Debates focus in-depth research and argument environment that creates episodic humility and information processing that outweighs because it's the only portal to link terms are offered by breaking down dogma and improving advocacy. C, the app is a massive diss at A, iterative process of scenario and allows the translation of activity to policymakers being officers, given the public to support privacy, which is key to information literacy, brief with American policy and intervention of pragmatic restraint. 2, I'll answer their counter interpretation. A, our impacts are a defense of our objective research being correct to terminal defense of the settlers like he said, and outweighs B, it's simply regressive. No frame for what sufficiently justifies their epistemology in some possible way. Epistemological evidences against each other. C, the links are our friends, material obligations are a defense of our justification. The rest is a prescriptive question, not normative. Now the realism stuff. 2 reasons we're right. A is empiricism, statistical regression of Chinese conflict analysis confirms the road to link with aggression and destabilization of the Indo-Pacific. That's why I see felt that outweighs their arguments. Comparison is the only way to understand the world. Assuming their arguments are incorrect, they can prove if you scientifically tested. Their theory is descriptive, not prescriptive. B is contingency. Even if we are winning realism structures are argument winning continually true in the context of the app. China rise greatly for the offensive real scholars and security advisors push. Offensive real Raymond G overturned 25 years of dang military policy. The threat concept. Cyber threat construction does not turn the app. We prove that our threats are not constructed nor real. Our evidence indicates that China has real hypersonics and real emerging alliance with Russia. That's because Jake Ferguson, the bioterror stuff is answered by Walsh evidence researchers that bioterrorists have true and real motive and capability post-COVID. I'll do the alternative here. 1 case of the diss hat. I'll do the transition wars offense here. If we prove that voting negative causes the war, then it's office for us was war when proven to lead to decolonization after the fact. Maintaining peace is preferable, and we do. Proven to the case page 2 can't solve the app. Obviously, it can't. When you see the cell list of security cooperation, the key to solve any of the impacts of 5G, such as spectrum harmonization, centralization of standards, etc. Don't give them any solvency. The case they don't stop extinction. Prove my 2 and C quad 6 when they said there. Scott evidence doesn't say it. Now I'll do the extinction outweighs stuff. Top level dealing to all their offense. They accidentally read a card that was trying to get to an extinction impact. They buy back to the same logic. They critique, extend their or tautology claim. Flaws and logical tests are the only thing that matters when colonialism for everything else is not worse because they justify saving one American massacre and the rest of the world is unfathomable. Extinction would limit all possibilities ever. Their impact is that can be solved in the future by other actions, but ours cannot because they're irreversible. Extinction is infinite which have we to the impact they can possibly go for. The first 2 subpoints mentioned above only valued by the little death because the non-arbitrary framing mechanism. The ontology debate. Their examples are not explained by ontology, settler colonialism, but they're explained by realism, which they don't counter theory for Bush invaded because it would be strategic to do so. Real defense because they have self-interest. Their big term of conquest does not have current explanation, even if it was structured by psychology and war, which is our framing, which is our argument from LIFA. They're rehighlighted a strong person LIFA negates when the UN officials said and forwards that the state will crack down on movements which independently decided that all they conceded the cyber threat concept, A threat inflation would get our authors fired. Rebuttals 9 just answers the stuff in the case of notion of security bureaucracies looking for new enemies of the threat bearer. What is missing from the college threat inflation is a reason why national security roles are embodied or continuing the treatment of threats that has to be transported in peer reviewed, marked at peer reviewed, and B scripture.
Already answered it.
And B, being extremely critical of awareness of Chinese-sponsored media designed to boost the pro-Chinese narrative while simultaneously denying the Uyghur genocide as comical. 21 calling network pushing pro-China narratives, attempting to discredit opponents of Chinese government, delegitimize the lessons. China's trying to use information. China stay focused on the United States, take away politics narratives, push back discrimination to kill Asians.
Yeah, market Asians.
Okay, we have 428.
still seniors or?
Yeah. Or I'm a senior.
Oh, I saw that you got into really forever board of
It's weird debating online and see.
Why did you decide to major in cyber operations?
Thought it'd be cool.
Okay. The order is going to be counterplan, the K, advantage 1, advantage 2.
Counterplan, okay, advantage 1, advantage 2. And, cards or not?
No. Okay. Is anyone on? Great. Special forces counterplan can see the deficit, also kick the counterplan and prove its worth to the status quo with launch close conditionality. I'll go to the game. Pembroke has conceded the China case. They're independently going to lose because any risk of any offense of Pembroke, they've conceded all the decisions. Can you automatically go negative? I'll send the interpretation. But on the active observation, we only have to disprove justification that are intrinsic to the plan. The question of plan desirability and research, not implementation. I will explicitly find out. I don't need to win the case page to win the debate because winning the one case truth is not justified the research, especially when they have conceded all the links did not read any China ref's good arguments in the tweets when it was clearly in the one you don't read the letter or part, but it was completely and also does not properly answer the thesis anyway. It is not a question of plan implementation with the justification they incorporated for doing the plan. I will also say we don't need to win an alternative because framing is a reason why independently rejecting the one scholarship is solved. The uniqueness is generated off the one introduction of the research to the round, which is why independently rejecting the links on face we win that if we win that they have presented representation that are rejected on the Chinese individuals mean that they should lose. Dilute evidence independently is conceded. Ransom is a racialized procedure to attach to their model because it proves that their model is made policing the way the game operates by forcing issue debaters to engage debate through a single model presentation that enables racist ideology. Hyper specific as to how the news to reward, i.e. the valor, incentivizes debaters to play in a way that enables techno-orientalism, so rejecting it is good. It signals techno-oriental scholarship. Voted to that solves. They conceded the thesis of the argument with this kid, the thesis of the argument with independently rejecting the value will reject the ideology information that will create techno-oriental scholarship. Deviation is also independently anti-science to their model because it specifically indicates that the deviation from what is conceived as predictable or fair debate and humanizing cheaters that cut right from the topic and otherwise debaters that do not engage debate in the way that you do. Even if we don't read any risk of defect, you still easily go negative because they just drop this out of the one area. You grant us the cross-application of framework. 2 our decision is based on 1 AR drops, and when they have conceded the China game in the 280, any risk is true, that is true and sufficient to have negative. But even so, I'll extend multiple pieces of defense that they extended. The 1 AR framework was kind of pretty short and a little unclear, which is why you should not grant the 2 AR any leeway here. First, that act was independently solved. You chose to defend the money, so you've been reading 5G all season. You disclosed to us you chose to defend China impacts while not having any defense of them in the 280. Independently, which is all because you were prepared to defend your representation. You should have justifications why the introduction of the 180 is good and debate, and you even had these cards in the 1 AR, but you chose not to read them in the 280. Also, independently, things like T, PICs, and this has all independently moved the affirmative. It's inevitable. You've conceded that the answer to this was a one-liner, and I did not hear the actual warrant because the 1 AR was going way too fast. Policy, because it means that moving the 180 on an independently basis of research is still inevitable based on other arguments like terms, Ks, and T on a pre-fiat level. Also, this is a terminal defense to the clash impact because it proves that engaging with their arguments is still possible. There's no specific reason why centering on the effects of policy is good, given that the 1 AR did not have a defense of fiat. The 1 AR did not have a defense of fiat. The answer to policy because good arguments here, also independent, I'll go
36.
2, okay.
Oh, my docs are good. There we go. Alright. Everyone good? Okay.
What would have to sustain humanity try for the affirmative? The Russia-China axis is inevitable, and only our app needfully overhaul deterrence measures to stop it, which essentially decrease the propensity of inevitable escalations or standoffs that escalate into armed conflict. The 1AC fell evidence resulting coercion, which causes nuclear war broadly. That causes extinction. They inability can see the RCA evidence now going to NC3 scenario and hypersonic. I'm not going for NC3 or hypersonic scenario. Go to the second advantage Germany. Not going for bioterror. Okay. Extent of interpretation of the referendum desire the plans enacted. That's critical to say this point. We are going all in on caution with the app. We definitely haven't conceded. Defense of fiat coming out of the 1 ER. Ramon said, quote, policy center debates force and in-depth research and abundant argument versus creates a pistol humility and information processing. They have dropped the deterrence. Their offense is an actual portable skill. Only our voting app breaks this dogma and improves advocacy in the real world because it creates better advocacy than non-settler clinical foreign policy. That outweighs and turns into an offense because it solves it way better than they can possibly solve by the ballot. They also dropped their argument about iteration, how scenario analysis is best for the best way to go in academic setting like debate in the real world and influences policy. Mark's argument about pragmatic restraint is damning because it's less colonialist than practice pragmatic restraint and focus on intervention. That turns their offensive means voting out overcorrect for the colonialist for an intervention, but they have not contested now. We'll do the framing debate here. Extinction outweighs no other impact in the debate can reach some latitude. They can see that carrying capacity of humans is infinite, which means the difference between our impacts and their impact is independently different by literally quadrillions of human lives that are occurring from near infinite magnitude. They've also dropped that any of their arguments can be solved by intervening actors in the mean term, but ours can't because it's irreversible. U.S. regardless of your opinions about our representations or U.S. primacy is a quick nuclear war impact. No other impact reaches the level of magnitude. Now I'll answer their argument about extinction here. They just made a proximity claim about how your ballot can't solve here. I'll do the impact of this flips app. Leland has dropped that we can convince the public to support primacy through our advocacy of hegemony. They did not extend the head-bad claim or anything. They just said our reps are bad, but you should presume hegemony is true and good and prevents extinction. Even if there might be a lag between our advocacy for public support, it outweighs a trillion times. This is a framing argument I did above on the extinction debate. If you give them any ballot solvency for in-round impacts on Chinese representations, you give it us about convincing the public that hegemony is the best thing ever. Give it to us as well. Reps. I'll do it here. The defense proper. The question of whether reps are discriminatory are not based in the Lee evidence. Both the Carmichael evidence and the Raskin evidence answer this proper. I'll do the Carmichael evidence first. First is an indict of their evidence. You should question whether the evidence is propaganda first before understanding the topical truth claims about whether their evidence can be weighed in the first place. We haven't called Leland Chinese nationals. We call their evidence Chinese nationalists, which because it's funded by the PLA, and all their evidence it says, quote, we did not, their only answer to this is that we did not finish before the warrants, but our evidence is specific. I'll do the warrant here. It says that Chinese propaganda likes to talk about Chinese race politics and discrimination between Asian Americans. Armand read this line. Remember when he said it's cut at discrimination against Asian Americans? This is defense to our representations. It means that if we win that the ad is true, it means that there's no way that you can give them a ballot in this debate. The no fake threats arguments also frames how you should understand if our rhetoric is violent or not. If we're making descriptive claims about how the world operates, you cannot possibly vote for them because it's how the world works. Their arguments here is that they don't have to prove that the app isn't true, but yes, they do. They have to prove that we have misrepresented China, but they have not done that because they've also conceded that China's revisionist on the realism debate. There's no answer here. This frames how you view our representations. We have flagged that realism is the only question you have to consider in the defense of our representations. All to it proper here. We win under their interpretation. If the 1EC is an objective study, we just have to win. It's a better and more accurate study than the negatives. Realism is the only way to understand IR. If we're right about any of our representations on the top level, that means they're not racist and not discriminatory because it's how the world operates. You cannot vote us down for just explaining how the world operates. We made a descriptive versus prescriptive claim that none of their offense can also answer. They're just going for an in-round impact, but if we prove the app is not writ large, not discriminatory through our representations, then we win the round. I'll do the realism debate here. Realism is true. They don't have an answer for it. China, we have cited specific examples about how China is revisionist. The deterrence paradigm, or China's revisionist, the BRI, the South China Sea, Indian border skirmishes, they conceded that they dropped Huawei is also a security threat. So all these reasons are why China's a revisionist power. It's an independent win condition for the affirmative. If we win that China's revisionist, then only the deterrence paradigm we've outlined through hegemony is good. All the reasons why I described above is reasons why that is true. It's also reasons why none of their evidence that says that propaganda matters. So if we win that the China threat is real, then we win the debate. The only other argument here is that they don't have to win the app. It's true. There's no warrants for why this is true. The framework just says I already did that above. It's not outweighed by our framework interpretation, but winning under their interp cleans up any residual offense I already did. Yeah. The overcorrection, so the only thing